My 19 female boyfriend, 20 male's eyes scared the crap out of me. I'm not sure what to do from here. Posting on my spam because my man's on Reddit. My boyfriend and I have been together for 6 months, but have known each other and been friends with each other since we were 17 and 18. I mention this because it's relevant, but he has never ever been abusive or manipulative, either verbally, physically, or emotionally. Never ever a hint of any of that nonsense. We're both very level headed people, so no crazy fights with screaming or anything like that, as we view that as disrespectful. There are some disagreements and stresses we have as we're long distance and pursuing different paths in life at the moment, but we have a very healthy relationship. Now, here's the main issue, and it's kind of insane sounding, but I don't know. A couple of months ago, we were having a civil disagreement about something, and he was glancing at me from the corner of his eye and speaking to me, and the look in his eyes genuinely scared the shit out of me. And it's not about the eye color or anything like that, it's the look. You know, you hear about the soulless eyes that serial killers have. Like, no joke, that was 100% there. And I haven't ever gotten that something is wrong, you need to run feeling before with anyone else's. It obviously wasn't anything intentional on his part, and he was speaking very calmly, but I immediately stopped disagreeing and just accepted whatever he was saying because I was so unnerved. I didn't mention anything to him and just ignored it. But the next time we disagreed about something, the look was back, and I again got so genuinely frightened, I just agreed with whatever he was saying. This doesn't happen every time we disagree or argue, but it happens enough to make me question whether I'm safe with him. I know a lot of people say this on this app, but he's actually an amazing partner to me, and I'm so very happy with him. I'm just looking for advice on what to do next and how seriously I should consider this feeling. Whoa, that's kind of scary. I wish I could see the look. Like, what is it? I don't know what to say about this, to be honest with you. Like, I have no clue. And I don't think that it sounds insane. I understand, like, that feeling of, because not to compare, like, my dad and his, like, my dad's way of not punishing, but, like, I don't know. What do you call it when you're, like, whatever. My dad, like, when we were growing up, he could just look at us and he makes this face, like, and just say, like, stop it. And I, not kidding, I would literally, like, poop a little bit. Like, I'd be so scared. I'd be like, okay, yep, stop it. Got it. Done. Done deal. Because his face was scary. Like, he's like, stop it. And I'm just like, but he didn't have to be, like, screaming or anything. He was just like, or he would just give us that look, like, I don't even know what, like, I don't even know how to do it. But I would be so scared. I'd be like, okay, yep, I'm done. See ya. So I can understand that. I mean, I never felt like he was going to, like, hit me or, like, do anything bad to me. But, yeah, so I can't really relate that much to this, to be honest. Okay, we're going to read some of the comments. That is your primitive brain recognizing a threat. It can be wrong, but you definitely should not just dismiss it. Listen to your gut. When I was teaching, I got that feeling about a new student. He hadn't done anything to me, wasn't even in my class, but he looked at me once in the hallway and he had dead eyes. Like his humanity or soul wasn't there. Empty. I was so freaked out, chills down my spine, but told myself I was overreacting. Other teachers loved this kid, so I chalked it up to me being tired or something. No. This effer lit a girl on fire a week later, poured something on her, and lit her on fire. She didn't know him. He said he saw her in class and decided he wanted to watch her burn. What the freak? Okay, I'm so scared of that. Oh my god. Like, oh my god. Someone said, I took a self-defense class once taught by a police officer. He said, if a guy ever gives you a look like this and demonstrated, he is dangerous and you need to stay away from him. I can't describe the expression he had, but he's a trained cop and believed that certain expressions showed a man is dangerous, so trust your instincts. Many people just get subconscious feelings about someone else and just feel that person is dangerous without knowing why. It's their subconscious warning them based on subtle cues their conscious mind is not aware of. You are in tune enough with your subconscious that you actually know why he frightens you. Listen to your subconscious. If you're right, you might save your own life. If you're wrong, well, there are plenty of other guys out there who won't terrify you during arguments. So, win-win. I wouldn't risk staying with him personally. His look would be a deal breaker. I feel like it's so, like, I was just talking about how it's hard to get out of a relationship. I mean, imagine, like, this being the relationship and, like, he's giving you a look when, and then it's, like, you think you're overreacting. But all these people are right. It's definitely a big, like, that's a big tell, and that's so scary. Okay, this is more than 8 months later. September 16th, 2025. For context, I made a post in the beginning of the year asking for advice because my boyfriend would get this weird hollow look in his eyes whenever we would argue. If you're curious, look up false killer whale stares, and that's the best comparison I can make. False killer whale? What the hell, Yante? Okay. I don't know how you make that face when you're a person, but okay. Thank you for that. Regardless, the post got a lot more attention than I was expecting. A fairly popular YouTuber even reacted to it. That was wild. Oh, I'm clicking on this. Who is this? I don't know this guy, but he has 471,000 subscribers. Okay, King, go off. I was super overwhelmed with all the comments and DMs telling me different things, so I chose to just forget I ever made the post in the first place and move on. After all, my boyfriend and I were in a totally super healthy relationship, right? Right? It's so funny looking back at my original post because I insisted so hard that we had a healthy relationship when really something was always off in hindsight. But since there was no textbook abuse, I just ignored it in the beginning. But after I made that post, I started being more critical of the way he treated me and noticing things that I hadn't before. Now, I'm not sure if that new awareness is what caused more arguments to start happening, or if it was just because we stopped being long distance and started to live together, but we started fighting daily. Turns out he was pretty controlling from the beginning, discreetly making me feel bad about hanging out with friends and family instead of him, insisting I not go out for safety reasons. After a while, this turned into him getting angry if I gave literally anyone else attention, even my brothers. He would get mad if I didn't approve plans, either with friends or family, with him ahead of time. But I wouldn't have to approve his plans. Always checking my phone, but he'd get mad and snatch his phone if I ever looked through his. You get the picture. All the while, he was free to have his own social life and do whatever he wanted. And if I ever complained about any of it, he would call me dramatic. There were so many other rules that I had to live by, or else I'd get ghosted. I was a pretty calm person before getting into this relationship, but I would often find myself exploding out of frustration of being isolated, not heard, and humiliated. For example, once I was crying because we were arguing for so long and I just wanted to go to sleep, but he wouldn't let me, and he started laughing / imitating my crying face. I genuinely exploded and started yelling, and he didn't apologize, but rather said that he was just trying to lighten the mood. I don't know why I believed it, but I felt so bad for yelling that I spent the next 2 days pacifying him so he would forgive me. You might be asking, OP, he was an immature control freak. Why didn't you dump him? Good question. One, for the longest time, I genuinely felt like the bad guy in our arguments because he would never yell, but I would. And I'm not saying I'm perfect. There were definitely mistakes that I made, and I should have handled myself better. But in our arguments, they would last hours because he would drag them on by connecting every mistake to something bigger. If I let my phone die while on a call with him, that meant I didn't love / respect / care about him. I would get overwhelmed and ask for a break or to go to sleep, and he would refuse and continue on and drop in hurtful comments and jokes until finally I would snap. And the second I snapped and yelled, I became the villain in my mind and I would feel terrible. There were many moments I wanted to leave, but I felt like I couldn't leave because of the mental games he would play. He had this thing where he would love to punish me and give me consequences for my bad behavior. These consequences could be 3 days without speaking. It could be having to cancel a hangout I was looking forward to, etc. But after any consequence, he would follow it up with a stubborn showering of what felt like genuine affection, love, and comfort. I would be angry and push him away, and he would persist until I wasn't angry anymore. The way he would act after I'd been isolated made me feel like nobody has ever loved or will love me like that. He admitted to me once that he would do similar things to his dog when he was a kid. He'd beat / pinch his pets growing up, just so that when they would cry or yelp, he could hug and kiss them. Before we started dating, he told me he liked to comfort people. I didn't think that meant he would take it upon himself to provide both the suffering and the subsequent comfort. Is that not insane? I can't make this shit up. The dude was a nut. And what's even more mind-boggling is that everyone thinks he's the sweetest, most respectful guy out there. Hell, I was good friends with him before we dated, and I thought he was the best thing since sliced bread. Whenever I finally had the balls to break up with him, our mutual friends were shocked to find out that I ended it because he's just the nicest guy, and, oh, OP, he was husband material. Ugh. Sorry for the rambling. Even though we broke up 2 months ago now, it's honestly still pretty confusing to get my mind around. Anyways, we're done now, and I'm never planning on speaking to him again. I definitely wasted a lot of time with him, but oh well. Better than wasting a lifetime, I guess. Moral of the story, listen to your gut, or at least some type of common sense. What? That is so scary that he even admitted that as well. Like, he was self-aware that that's what he did. He was self-aware that he would inflict pain upon someone or an animal or something, and that just so that he could comfort them. That is the most insane thing I've ever heard. I have never heard someone like say that. I've never heard that. I've never even thought about the fact that that could be a thing. Other than like, it sounds like almost Munchausen by proxy, like when they want their kid to, when they want like to be able to be there for their kid, or like to be able to comfort their kids, so they inflict like an illness on them or something, or like pretend that they have a certain illness, you know. I'm pretty sure that's what Munchausen by proxy is, but that's crazy. Yeah, I can't even wrap my head around that. Someone said, wow, very textbook cycle of abuse stuff. I'm so sorry you experienced this. The loving stuff he did was what's called love bombing, and is a tactic abusers use to keep their victims dependent on them. The cycle is tension, incident, reconciliation, calm, and that just repeats over and over. You'd have the tension buildup of trying to follow his rules but still want to live your life. The incident of a blow up when things got to too much of a head, the reconciliation where he would love bomb you back to not being mad at him, and the calm period before he would start to ramp up things to get back to the tension stage. Very proud of you for leaving this guy. It can be really hard to leave an abuser and often takes people several tries, where they end up going back before ever getting out for good. Edited to add, the kneeling until you blow up and then he makes it look like you're the crazy one is super common abuse tactic too. Basically, they'll poke and prod and say increasingly horrible and enraging things, but since they're sociopathic, they don't feel things the same way, so they stay calm for all of it. Finally, the victim will lash out, and then suddenly, it's all about how irrational and insane and emotional you are. It's how they manage to keep public opinion on their side too. Now he gets to say that you're the ex who was always screaming when he stayed calm. If things had ever gotten to the point of a police call, you would look unstable, and he would just look calm, perplexed, and like the innocent boyfriend. Yep. Clock it. Someone said, I've read that stare comes up in narcissists. If you haven't already, read up on the narcissistic abuse. He sounds like a covert narcissist. Everyone loves them, but they're abusive and controlling behind the mask of generosity and performative kindness. Rather than beating yourself up about spending so long with this POS, consider this. You have experienced and learned something profoundly useful that will serve you well for the rest of your life. You are young, and from now on, you will always be alert to this horrible kind of control and help yourself and others avoid it. I have only just experienced controlling narcissistic abuse at the ripe age of 40 from an in-law, and now I'm highly in tune into that behavior in others. I wouldn't say I see it all the time, but when I do, I really do. In colleagues, the partners of friends, people from my past, it's such a gift to be able to see it clearly. Yeah, it's so much easier to see it clearly as well when you're like not in a relationship with that person. I feel like you kind of deny it for a while until you kind of take a step back from the relationship and then realize that, especially when it's like a narcissist, because it's always like, oh, well, everyone loves him and he's like so social and everyone's like obsessed with him, and so why like he would never be that person, the person that like is scary or whatever. Someone said, good on you. That creepy stare definitely was your gut picking up on something your brain hadn't caught up to yet. It's called thin slicing. Our subconscious reads subtle cues in people like body language, tone, or even a stare and flags danger before we can explain why. Turns out your instincts were dead on. The stare matched the controlling, manipulative behavior. Be glad you dodged that whale before it dragged you under. OP said, I'm so glad. This whole experience has definitely made me start thinking twice about gut feelings and our subconscious. Although in my case, I'm not sure how much of it was a supernatural gut feeling, like something is off and I don't know why, or just common sense pattern recognition that the average person would be able to identify. It's so crazy to think like there's so much, like I've never heard of this thin slicing. That's so interesting. There's just so many things like that I haven't learned. Love you guys. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.